Hey everyone, so there are good reasons to critique another person's belief, but then there are bad reasons or bad motives, and I want to talk about those. I'm going to list five. So, number one is feeling scared and therefore defensive. We take a lot of security in our beliefs, especially if they're about faith, especially if we've held them for a long time. And when someone presents another view, we get defensive and start critiquing. Number two, we don't want to be wrong. We don't want to be wrong about anything, and especially with faith, we want to seem wise, smart. We don't want to be made to look silly for being wrong all this time. And so we start critiquing. Number three, we are uncomfortable with difference. This applies to race, age, gender, um, socioeconomic status. As humans, we often just struggle with people or things that are different than us. We just want everyone to be the same as us. And so when someone has a different belief or style than us, we get uncomfortable and therefore start critiquing. Number four, oftentimes we are surprised by difference. If we've been in the same church, under the same pastor, in the same denomination, or whatever, for a long period of time or for our whole lives, we may not know that people believe things differently than us. We may think there's just kind of one right Christianity and that's it. But we just need to look at a theology library or church history to know that that's not true. So anyways, we get surprised, start critiquing. And lastly, number five, we can often be closed-minded, just not open to other people's ideas. We might just, think we're right, and we've just kind of gotten into this track of thinking the same way, and we just don't want to think any other way. And so, without even considering the other person's belief, we start critiquing. And so, kind of the bottom line here is these five things I just listed, we're often not conscious of, and we wouldn't want to admit those are influencing us either. So the takeaway here is that before we say something critical, before we put down another person's belief, before we critique it, roll our eyes at another person's belief, before we dismiss another person's belief, I think we really need to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. We really need to evaluate, are any of those five things happening? Are those the motives for me speaking up, or is it something more godly? Talk to you next time.